Three things happen to three different people.
Okay.
I combine all three into one character.
Okay.
One character is just basically going through a whole bunch of stuff. So when people read it, it's like, dang, you know somebody that went through all of that? But really it's three situations with three different people that I know that happened, and I just combine them into one character.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into the characters. Like, there's Joy, there's Tia, and Sean.
Yeah.
And Joy's like the main character.
Joy is one of the main characters. She starts off in the novel. The novel starts off in the 80s. So she's like the main character, like the bad B of the 80s. And she
designer stuff and all that.
She's rocking like the MCM, the Fendi, all the flashy clothes that was out back then, and Chanel, all of that. And then she has a best friend who is Tia. Tia is like her wingman. She goes everywhere with her. They go on shopping sprees and everything. And they just live life trying to find that hustler that's going to just take care of them. So something really, really unfortunate happens to Tia. I don't want to really tell the story, but something really, really bad happens to her at a club. And I named DC clubs. That was one thing that, of course, back in the 80s I could do that because none of the clubs really are out now. Yeah, they don't exist anymore. So I was,
different names.
Right, they're different names. So I did actually name those clubs back then. Foxtrot was one of them. And the Classics is still here, but I don't know who goes there. I'm not trying to put them on the spot, but that's one of the. And also, I didn't name Zanzibar. I called it Z-Bar in the story because something happens in the parking lot. And Zanzibar is back up now, so I didn't want to get, slapped on the wrist by this thing. But something happens in the parking lot too, and that part, a lot of my female fans kind of really, really like shed tears and cried because of that situation that she got into in the parking lot. But those two, they like, sisters, and basically Joy is stuck by herself after that happens, and then Sean is like the ruthless, drug dealer of the 80s, and he is kind of like. You can compare him to like Big Meech of today. So he does anything and everything. He probably would give Big Meech a run for his money, but he does anything to anybody. He doesn't care. All he cares about is his money. If you come in between his money, he's going to do something. He's going to kill you. So
get in his way.
Yeah, don't get in his way. So Joy and Sean fall in love, and she falls in love with him, and he just cannot fathom the fact that she's pregnant. So something terrible happens to her, and she is left single mother. And that's when the next character comes into play, who is their child, Sasha. And Sasha is like the main character of the 90s and the 2000s. I tell the story of her growing up, and her finding friends, and that's when those people that I know come into play.
Okay.
So I tell the people that I know, there's
versatile character. Like she can do the street stuff, she can do the classic stuff. She's like a careful blend of the two.
Yeah, she's really. I created her character. She's like, you know, one of the good girls, but you know, she's a good girl gone bad, but she's still good. So it's like she
ain't all the way gone yet.
Yeah, she's not all the way gone yet.
That's a hell of a mix right there.
Yeah, so
she's bad, but she's oh so good.
Right. So she kind of like, she's just like her mom, you know, real fashionable, very beautiful, banging body, you know.
She's bad.
She's the it girl, and she has a group of friends who kind of like, in the female characters, they kind of like think of them as like the Sex and the City girls. Like, they go for it, they bad, they wear fashionable clothes, and they just, you know, take DC for what it is. And so her friends are, oh gosh, Sasha, then there's Chantel, then there's Tiffany.
I was trying to remember everything.
Yeah. And Sasha, Tiffany, and Chantel, they are really, really close, and they are kind of similar to Joy and Tia. However, Sasha's a little more smarter than her mom. She's not about dealing with husbands. She doesn't want to deal with that life, but she falls in love with one. So, and it causes a rift between Joy and Sasha. Yeah, so that's that. And then there's another character. His name is Marcus. Marcus grows up with Sasha, and I tell his story because I wanted to have diversity in my fan base, and I wanted to have diversity in the story. So Marcus, he's a football jock. He, growing up, he plays football in school. He chases girls chase him, but they just don't fulfill his, you know, inner want. So then he finally one day is like, you know what, I'm just gonna come out. So he comes out to Sasha and tells Sasha that he's actually gay. So she's in denial because she had a crush on him. She really, really liked him. You know, she was almost in love with him, but it was so shocking. So from that day forward, they became best friends. And I kind of go that way in the story with him, and I tell his, you know, struggle with that, trying to feel accepted in a society that really doesn't see that, you know, as being accepted.
Like, how can the football player do that thing?
Right, yeah, and you know, he's not that typical one, you know, he's super masculine, you know, he does things that regular guys do, it's just that he likes other guys, and it's, you know.
Gay dudes are masculine.
Yeah,
they're not all fucking parodies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So his story, that crowd that that fan base has reached out to me and was like, man, I can't believe you really told my story. You know, you really, really like touched me because I went through the same things that Marcus went through. You know, as far as him being in high school, got ridiculed for people knowing about him and stuff like that. A lot of that fan base reached out to me and was like, man, I just can't believe you actually told my story. You don't even know me. So that's what's up. I really wanted to do that, and back when I wrote it, because I wrote it when I was 20. I'm 27
7 years ago.
Right,
Dang.
7 years ago. So back then, you know, me being 20 years old and actually wanting to speak about that to me, when I think back on it, I'm like, damn, I was kind of, you know, mature for my age.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
it was ahead of your time for that one.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, that's why I was a little afraid, not just his character, but a lot of other stuff that I exposed. I kind of was afraid to really go there and really put it out there. Back in 2000, I believe it was 5 or 6, when I started writing it. But a lot of stuff started happening to me in my personal life, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this story out there because it's
therapeutic.
Right, it's therapeutic, but I feel as though I'm going to rob somebody of actually reading it and finding themselves and actually being delivered from the story. So, in 2012, that's when I wrote the last chapter. You can tell kind of from the beginning to the end, you can tell how I've evolved, because I wrote the last chapter, chapter 10, which is called Priceless. I wrote that chapter when I was 26. So at 20, you get that perspective of a young child, but at 26,
it's more mature.
So you can tell in that last chapter, it's like, man, I can't wait to part 2, because that last chapter you just like, damn.
What's next?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting to me about how the book is written. It's like the diversity of the cast. Like, you have the girls over here, you have the males over here, you have the gay community. It's like all mixed together in one book. that's like a beautiful thing.
That's a good balance.
That's real
That's life, though.
That's real life.
And I got the hustlers in there too, you know what I'm saying? I got them dudes on the block in there too, so it's like, just like one of my fans, Miss Cake, she sent her, she bought 2 copies. She sent one to her boyfriend who was in jail. Because, you know, she was like, man, I have a Rome. Rome is another character. Rome is a guy who is a hustler, but he's a kind of good guy, you know. He gets into the game because he has to save a life. For survival. He has to save someone really, really close to him, and he's not going to allow that person to just suffer and die. You know, he's going to get the money to pay for the treatment for that person. So he's like, you know what, I'm not just going to sit here and let this person die. I'm going to go do what I got to do to, you know,
make it happen.
So, you know, she told me, she was like, man, she sent me an email. She was like, man, I had to send the story to him because I have a Rome in my life. You know, she found herself in the story. She found her boyfriend. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of, you know, I'm talking about real issues that happen to real people, so I have all walks of life in the story. That's why when people read it, they like, man, I really found myself in it.
And they can connect to it.
Yeah, they can connect to it.
Draw them in, man.
So, I hate to cut you off, but we got to wrap up this section.
Okay.
Get the music in there. So, but we're going to come back to it.